Hey, Bill.
Greg, how's it going?
How you doing?
Good.
I was
Getting ready for Miami.
I was just suggesting that you probably took the whole Labor Day weekend off. You look like a guy who takes a lot of these weekends off.
Yeah, well, it's always a great weekend in terms of starting things back up, whether it's football season, school, or whatever, just kind of the general. And then it's the end of the summer for a lot of families and summer people, but it's time marches on, so we're getting ready for Miami.
Does that mean Nantucket is done for you for the summer? Will you make it over there during the fall or no?
Yeah, right now I'm kind of thinking about today, tomorrow, and this week.
Right, we're on to Miami.
It's hard for me to plan ahead. Yeah, it's just one day at a time here.
All right. I wanted to ask you early. I know it's early on here, but if you see any similarities between Mac Jones and Tom Brady early on.
Yeah, each player is different. Every player has their own unique skills, and the environment around them is a factor too. So where we are offensively now and where we were offensively in 2001 are just quite different. So I think it's always hard to make those kind of comparisons, especially when you're talking about a whole different system of offense and system of defense, for that matter, what we see. But Mac's working hard. He's getting better every day, and he has a long way to go. I don't think those are any secrets, so it is what it is.
Bill, I've been a fan of this team for a long time. I think I remember 1985, my mother bought me a T-shirt that said "Squish the Fish." It was the AFC Championship game. So I seen a lot of players. I seen a lot of players come and go, and then it was the Bury the Bears sweatshirt, and we know how that turned out. One guy that I was a huge fan of, and I thought he was going to have a real opportunity again this year to get another chance at it, and he got cut, was Cam Newton. How difficult was it to make that decision to move on from him? You see players come and go, but specifically him, for me as a fan, I always latch on to one guy. How difficult was that for you as a coach to make that decision?
Yeah, well, it's always difficult when you have to reduce your roster, and it's a lot of guys that worked hard, a lot of guys that performed well and had either good years for us or good careers, and I respect all those things, but each year's its own year, and I have to do what I feel is best for the football team. And so with regards to every decision, that's what I try to do. But it's always tough to tell guys that have worked hard and given you all they had that you're not able to keep them. But I have nothing but positive thoughts and feelings for Cam. He came in here, he worked hard, he gave us everything he had, and right now our future is going to be Mac at quarterback, and so that's where we're going to go.
Was there any consideration given to him remaining as the backup, Bill?
Oh yeah, there's always options, and a lot of different things that you can do, especially at this time of year with so many players available. Before they all hit the practice squad, but again, in the end, did what we felt was best.
Bill, when it comes to
but just hearing your voice and talking to you this morning just brings me back to David Patton, and that was very, very sad news for our organization, and many people that were here with David. Who of course came back in 2010. So many of the coaches and even a few players like Gerard and obviously Troy played with him, but Slade and guys like that. And so just thinking about the Snow Bowl, the 100 yards he had receiving in the snow, and so I went back and watched some of those films. Think about David and. Saw you and your catches, and the one pass that David didn't catch that went through his hands that you caught. It's an amazing play, but it's really just a celebration of David's great life that he lived, but also a very, very sad day for our team. to hear the news on Friday. So I know how much it meant to you, and how much it meant to all of us, and
right.
What an inspirational person he was. But he'll be missed, and he's in our thoughts, and his family is in our prayers. So, but I know how much he touched you too. So I just want to hit you with that.
Well, life is short, and you gotta enjoy the moments that we're here, and that obviously that shocked a lot of us. When you lose somebody so close but yet so young, and so enjoy the moments while you can on this earth. And I think David was an inspiration to me. He was a leader. I felt like as a guy on our team, but sad news, and my thoughts and prayers go out to his family.
Bill, when it comes to Mac, as a coach, looking at the quarterback position, what do you think is the hardest thing to master going from college to the NFL?
Just the volume, just the whole volume of what you have to deal with. Number of different coverages, different blitzes, different looks, and just. I would say then the difference in the passing game, which Alabama had a more of a pro style passing game than most colleges, but college game, the college passing game, generally speaking, isn't very similar to the pro passing game, and so that even though throwing the ball, there's a difference between throwing. Passing routes that require reading the defense and coverage and working through progressions versus reading the defensive end or reading numbers on bubble screens and plays like that, RPOs, and it's a whole different really concept of throwing the ball. So, but you just see a lot more man coverage, a lot more press coverage, a lot more coverage variations. More fronts, which changes the identification and who the players are on defense, based on what the front part of the alignment is. So treating linebackers as and DBs, which ones are linebackers, which ones are safeties, which ones are deep field players, which ones are line of scrimmage players, and it's really the volume when you put it all together. I think really is the big thing. Like any one problem is solvable, but when you're looking at a mountain, it's kind of hard to just focus on just one thing. The volume is enormous.
Bill, you talk about the Miami Dolphins, and what kind of challenges or advantages are created when you play against a team that you have familiarity with because of Brian Flores being the head coach down there?
Yeah, well, anytime you play a team in your division, you know the personnel better because you've played against them multiple times, and even if the system changes and you have a new coach, like we see at the Jets situation, or in Miami last year it was Chan Gailey's offensive coordinator, and this year it's George, and so they've kind of reconfigured things a little bit. So how much of that's the same, how much of it's different. I mean, we'll see, but. Even when there are differences, the carryover in the personnel is, helpful in terms of preparation relative to a team you don't know. Like, this year playing the NFC South. I mean, that's, we haven't seen those teams in a long time. And so the preparation for those teams, just getting to know who the players are, and that in itself is, be a lot more challenging than at least we know the players on the teams in this division. So, but the challenges are they know us too, and they know our strengths and they know our weaknesses, and they'll have a plan for how to attack us probably as well as anybody, and that's what we look forward to when we play teams outside of our division. We look at how the other teams in the division play them and how they attack them, and because again they're more familiar with them. So that's just kind of how the process rolls.
Bill, over the last week, Malcolm Butler announced his retirement from the NFL, and he obviously had maybe the biggest play in the history of the NFL with his interception in Super Bowl 49. Two-part question: would you agree, A, that was the biggest play in the history of the NFL, and two, Was his benching in Super Bowl 52, is that your biggest regret you've had as head coach in hindsight of the New England Patriots?
Yeah, well, Malcolm, Malcolm's a great story. I mean, talking about a kid that's undrafted, really couldn't even get into a training camp, and then when we brought him up here for a rookie minicamp for a tryout, he wasn't even signed when we brought him up here. To see to see the fact that he had talent, and to see him grow and develop as a player and as a person, when he was here, and what he, what his 4 years of play here meant to this organization. It's pretty impressive. I mean, there's not a lot of guys that do what he does. Although J.C. Jackson has, followed a similar path, but again, that's very unusual just in terms of, playing time and all that. So, I always enjoyed coaching Malcolm, and had a lot of respect for, again, the way he competed and what he did. It's very similar to David Patton, coming from nowhere and, establishing and having a really good NFL career. But, ultimately business is business, and, sometimes players, move on for better opportunities, like Malcolm did to Tennessee, or David Patton did when he signed in Washington, or, it's just part of the NFL. So, in retrospect, again, looking back, I always try to do what's best for the football team, and that's what I'll continue to do. So try to look ahead, not back too much.
Well, Bill, I think this is the last one for me. When you talk about what you do against rookie quarterbacks, or when we talk about it, you've been really good throughout your career. How do you help Mac Jones, because he's now a rookie, and what advice do you say you give him to, here are things that you're going to be looking for, defenses are going to be trying to do to maybe make things difficult for you as a rookie?
Yeah, no, again, I think it's volume. And so, there's so many things that they have to prepare for and see. But, the worst situation, as a player, the worst situation is to go out there and have something happen that you've never even seen before, and then you just have no idea what to do or how to react to it, or what you should do in that situation. So, it's not going to be perfect. It's never perfect for a young player or a young coach. We've all been through that, but we want to try to prepare him the best we can to at least put him in the situations that could come up, and so at least he'll have something to fall back on, when they happen. But of course, that'll improve over time, and he gains experience and knowledge and improves every single day. So we just have to keep stacking those days on top of each other, and try to, all of us try to move to higher ground, but especially, a young player that has so much so much on his plate. It's have to try to keep, checking things off each day, but definitely don't want to try to put him, or any player for that matter, but especially the quarterback, because of the volume. Don't want to put him in a situation that you just haven't exposed him to. Then that's really just not fair to the player.
Bill, we talked to Devin McCourty on Friday, and he said everyone's going to have to step up in the absence of Stephon Gilmore. How difficult of a decision was it to put him on the PUP list, knowing you wouldn't have him for at least 6 weeks?
Well, yeah, again, it's, Steph and I have talked about that. We've talked about that with, our strength coaches and trainers and Steph, and, I think we're all on the same page here.
All right, Bill, thanks for being on this morning. Have a great week. We'll talk to you on Monday.
All right, sounds good. Have a good week.
Okay,
Yep.
all right, thanks, Bill. All right. Curtis, we got where did Curtis go? Do you have to run and change his shorts after that?
I think I did. God.
Hold on. We got to discuss. We'll take a quick break.
Well, we got a couple minutes now.
We do?
Fine.
All right. Curtis, did you get the answer that you wanted on the question? You finally were able to ask the question.
Thursday, before I flew down to Florida, I was walking around Castle Island, and I got the news of Butler, and I was like, okay, this is the only week you can ask that question without completely sounding like a douchebag.
Right.
So I said, I got to do it. And then I formulated the question in my head.
It's a good question.
And then on 3.5 hours sleep, I'm in here and I don't even remember what I said. I looked at Ken and I said, did I make any sense? And he was like, I'm scared for you.
It's a good question.
Yeah, you made
job.
sense though.
Yeah, you started. You started very strong. Towards the end,
Right.
you got a teeny little bit nervous.
Yeah, that's sort of like that's the story of my life. Started out strong, got nervous, and sucked.
You package it up with like, 2 questions in
That
one.
question right there is for all the losers that cover the Patriots who have never had the balls to
here we
ask
go.
the biggest
Oh,
question.
wow.
Chris Curtis, this little boob, alcoholic idiot in the other room, asked the question, and he was fine with it.